Pierrick, it's amazing to have you here, man. Thank you so much for joining me. For those that haven't watched it yet, I had a really amazing chat with Pierrick a few weeks
It
back
was great.
on his channel. He does amazing work. He's really talented, but yet humble. He does some of the best, if not the best, courses out there. Amazing
That's true.
trailers, makes you really want to like get to learn more. And he's an amazing animator, and he kind of thinks outside the box. And ever since we talked and I found your channel, I've been really curious to know actually talk more about your career, what inspires you, your journey, and all this good stuff. So thank you so much for joining us, Peric. Awesome
Thank
to have
you
you
so
here.
much for having me. That's super cool. Kind
Yeah.
of intimidating. That's easier to ask the
You
question,
think?
I guess. Yeah.
I always like to start to from the very beginning, right? Peric, the little child, the teenager, the person that actually like was very big fan of either animation or being a 3D generalist, falling in love with 3D. How did the whole thing started? Like your journey in general.
So I was born in the countryside, loving family, everything super nice, and I was introduced to video games super early on for a guy of my generation. My parents used to work for a company that would build rockets to go to the moon and stuff like that.
Really?
Like yeah,
Wow,
to put satellites on orbit and things like that.
that's
Formerly
amazing.
called the SEP. So they did believe in computers super early on. So we had a PC when I was 7 years old. It was really something at the time. And the first game I played was the very first King Quest in 4 colors, CGA at the time. And you had to type in prompt to make the character do whatever. So yeah, I've been like into games super early on. As a kid, I would draw all the time. But then when I got like in my, let's say, higher studies, I didn't really know what to do. I was playing a lot of game. I was drawing, but drawing wasn't something I would like tackle as a potential professional career. And when you are supposed to choose in which university you'd like to learn, in France, basically, my mother had the great idea to ask me what I wanted to do. Because I wanted to be a teacher at first. And I do believe that some of the things that I'm doing right now, basically.
Yeah.
But the studies to be a teacher, they are very like university like. You have to read books and be super serious about it. And I wasn't like a super student. When she asked me, I was like pushing the toward things that would work at the time, like computer development and stuff like that, without believing in it. And she was like, "But you draw all the time and whatnot. You should do something about this." So I was, "Oh yeah, maybe um, we'll make up for cinema, something like that." So we searched for schools, but they were like super far, super expensive. And she was like, "Maybe you could find something like really focused on drawing." And we got to a school where you could visit the school at the time. Basically, the school is open for potential students to visit it and see what's
Like for a
the
day tour. Yeah.
yeah. It was editorial design and commercial design and graphic design, basically. But it was like you draw and you get a job about it. And it was pretty new for me to see something like that. So I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And as soon as I started like doing that, I completely changed. I will
Good.
I will start to work like day and night. We had like classes from Monday to Saturday, and I would work at night. I was like completely transformed. And then out of school after like 4 years, 4 to 5 years of studies, I struggled to find a first job, as you did,
Yeah.
because whatever they say in school, when you're out of school, for companies, you don't have that much value. Basically, it's very hard to get a first job as an artist. I was kind of jobless for 9 months or so, doing like little design stuff, but it wasn't really paying anything. And I got through an internship that was generally for people that were under 18. I was like 23 already. because that was the only way for me to get into the first company I worked with.
Yeah.
It was a printing factory, and I was doing both graphic design and printing pre-production for them before it goes into the engines and stuff. So the more I got into my jobs, the further away I was getting from art. But I was enjoying it because there was always a challenge. And when I got in the first kind of big company I worked with, my very first serious job, and we were doing business gifts.
Business gifts.
Yeah.
Okay.
USB flash drive. Yeah, we were one of the first like doing quick deliveries from China and stuff. And what we know today with Amazons and stuff like that, we were part of the first companies to use that system. So the thing is that we were using like laser engraving, silk printing, a lot of different methods, and I would do kind of everything. And I had to deal with 40 people selling stuff, and I was alone. So that was always a challenge.
Like we all go through experiences, but the experiences normally culminate. Sometimes they feel disconnected, the things that you go through life, but at some point it starts to make sense. Yeah. And to me, it feels very much like that experience taught you not only how to be professional, but also how to actually kind of like market the product, perhaps, and kind of sell a product in a very nice way that is presentable and all that stuff. So I'm seeing correlations there. When anything happens in my life, no matter how small or how big, when I don't understand it, because there's things that happen in your life. Like, for example, I'm sure when you had that job, you were wondering, I want to be an artist. What am I doing here? Printing things all the time, right? But at the same time, like, that experience has been incredibly valuable for your present now as an artist, right? But I was going to ask you about being a 3D generalist, because like we get a lot of questions here about like, what if I don't want to be just an animator? What if I actually want to do it all? Or if I have different interests? Because it's very difficult. Animation is difficult for a lot of people. One of the factors is that you have to focus your attention into this one discipline for years to come in order to become any good. And only when you actually kind of spend years practicing, that's when you start on your journey. And unless you absolutely love it, obviously it's difficult for you to kind of like keep at it. So I don't blame anybody that just wants to do a little bit of everything, because after all, you perhaps want to like maybe not only animate a character, but also model a character, but also render a character, but also get cloths and physics and things like that. And all those things are fun. So I absolutely understand that. So my question to you was exactly that. Like, do you feel as a 3D generalist that you can find job work more easily, mainly because you come as one package? Pierrick Picaut comes as one package that can do it all?
It's hard to say, because right now I'm known for my animation and rigging skills, basically, and for teaching. The great thing about being a generalist is that you can find, as a freelancer, I believe you can find a lot of pretty sustainable and profitable projects. Now, the thing is that, and this is where sometimes I don't know where to position myself in the discourse. Mm-hmm. If you want to work for the industry, a lot of people will tell you have to specialize, which is true. If you want to work at Blizzard, at Riot, or whatever, I believe any studio upon 50%, you have to be a specialist.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
But when I entered Atypic Studio like 7 years ago, I was able to do everything. They contacted me to rig and animate, but then I did environment, character modeling, VFX and stuff like that, a bit of everything. Yeah. So it helped me to find a job, to be a generalist and to grow in that company.
I think this just shows that there is not only one path to actually get into this industry, because like for example, I had the opposite of what you had, Pierrick. So I actually worked in the industry for so long, and I specialized for so long that at some point I was kind of fed up with the job that I had at the moment, and I'm like, I'm going to go freelance, right? I have all these years of experience animating, so I'm going to go freelance. And all the gigs that I was getting, they were like, cool, we need an animator. awesome. But what companies think of an animator is that you rig, you model, and you animate. So you do the whole thing, and you get a character to move around and do the thing and all that stuff. Don't worry, we have people that can render. Don't worry that we have people that can actually do other things, but we need an animator. But then it was me telling them I can only animate, but I need somebody else to do the modeling and the rigging for me. So that basically means that when it comes to freelancing, you become cornered into this very specialized type of freelancing. So this is when I finally understood the appeal and the value of being a 3D generalist. The question from the chat, Peter, is asking, as a 3D generalist, have you ever felt like you were spreading yourself too thin? And if so, how do you go about having that balance of all these skills?
I still have this feeling because when I rig a lot, I want to draw. When I draw, I want to learn scripting. When it's always like that.
Yeah.
So when I was freelancing, my go-to was if I know how to do 80% of the project right now, I will take it. And the 20% I don't know, I will learn them along the way. That was my philosophy, basically. So I never really felt like, oh, this is too big for me, or I can't do it, or there's too many different specialty. In the end, I was doing always the same things. It was generally like videos, corporate videos. So it was a bit of modeling, rigging, animation, lighting, shading, like the fundamentals. I wasn't doing any scripting for customers, any super advanced rigging, or like anything too specialized, or any project with like you absolutely need to know how. For example, I had a project I was about to cancel because they wanted a simulation, a liquid simulation, and that's not my thing. I hate doing simulations. And I went, oh shit, I need to find someone to do it. So I took that path, and it wasn't the right choice. So I just found a way. I used stock photo that I mixed up. I found a trick to get to the result.
Amazing.
So that was one of the project where I felt this limitation, basically.
Yeah.
But I just stick to things I feel like I can achieve, but always with a little challenge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's actually super, super important, mainly because I think that as professionals, especially when you specialize on something, there's always a point in your career that you become complacent. You know how to do something incredibly well. You're getting paid incredibly well for what you don't know how to do incredibly well. Why should I actually learn something new? And I think this is the pitfall and the problem, I think, with specializing in one thing. Because if you don't actually get yourself off balance, and like Pierrick was saying, like doing something but always with a little challenge on top to make sure that you're always learning something new, I think things become boring, no matter how much you love animation. But if you do animation 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, or 5 days a week, depending if you have a side project or not, and you actually are doing it for 10 years straight, it becomes boring, no matter how much money they pay you. Money is no longer an issue when you go above a certain number. It's always about the art and satisfaction and curiosity and making sure that you're always learning something new. So I think that being a 3D generalist is perfect for that. We'll wrap it up because I don't want to take too much of your time, Pierrick, but it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. And thank you so much to everybody in the chat for being so nice. If you are new here or new to Pierrick's course or new to Pierrick's world, you should absolutely go and check it out. For like if you're actually into Blender, if you're curious about Blender or anything like that, start with Pierrick's course because he's a whiz at teaching things. He's really, really good.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I loved it. I wish we had all the night to talk. You can see on my face that I really need to get to bed. So.
Exactly. No problem, Pierrick. But thank you so much, man. And thanks for everything you do for the community. And let's keep talking. We need to do this more often.
Yeah. I'd love to.
Yeah.
See you, man. Thank you so much.
Okay, see you. Chat, thank you very much. Speak to you guys later. Bye-bye.